Well, as you can see, I've got a basic sketch. I did that with a pencil, just for fun, just to be different today. We're gonna start the sky a little bit differently. I've got some white paint here, just white paint. I've also got a purple that I've already pre-mixed. So first thing I'm gonna do, I've got a little clear gel and white over the sky area, just the same as we always would, but look at this. I'm gonna paint extra white. I know this is a little weird, probably unnecessary to paint this extra white, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I want that extra white on there. Okay, so I'm gonna put about 3-4 inches of white down. Again, there already is some clear gel and white on this area, but now there's a lot of white. Okay, that goes down about in there. Now what I'm gonna do is grab some yellow and put some yellow right here in this corner. Well, you can pretty easily see we're making a sun up in the corner. So much for the corners of the painting are always darker. Oh, yes. But anyway, there you go. Okay, set that to one side. Grab the 2-inch brush with that purple. Purple kind of to the blue side, and I'm going to place that. I've got a cloud here that I'm already thinking about, but let's just place this in right there, leave a gap. Just like that. The point of the purple is, of course, as a bit of a safety net. Hey, well, we should also be looking at your version of the last painting that I did. And if you'd like to share your painting with me, you can share it on the special Facebook page or using the hashtag on the screen. Just go back into my white, maybe a speck of red, because there was some yellow in it, so just a speck of red so that it cancels that yellow out. Okay, and then really what I want to do is just blend these two colors together right here. And I'm being very careful not to get green. Now I'm going to layer on a significant amount of white here, just sculpting my cloud. This is, a pretty effective way to get a cloud done. I did put a little bit of just, I don't know, purple or something, just smushed it in real quick there. And there we go. Look at that. Kind of get a bit of a cloud shape happening. Yes, that's not perfect, but it's going to be okay. Nice and bright. This is a light purple. This is not pure white, but you could use pure white. You could, because it's going to mix as you blend. Now you don't always have to blend. I don't always blend my sky, but I think today a little blending probably be a good thing. Look at that. The more random, the better. Absolutely. Now, if you can, you look around, you say, well, do I want it to, look at this, kind of straight. See how straight that is? Watch what happens when you make that not straight. That's how easy it is. Absolutely easy. Bring that cloud in more, then out. Oh, that's good stuff. That's more interesting that way. There we go. Finishing up just a quick blend on the bottom of the cloud, especially on the bottom. You want it to be relatively soft. If your whole cloud is sharp, it usually kind of looks funny. But that works right there. All right, now, filbert brush. And some of our sky color, really. And I'm going to place in, kind of lost my sketch, but that's okay, some of my little background rolling mountain things. And then we also know we got another foothill right back here. Pretty simple. This is not super complicated, not at all, really. What I would do, I would probably just take a 1-inch brush or something and just blend the bottom, so that at least it's soft. That works. Well, now I'm going to mix something pretty light, fairly light, a little bit of yellow and green right in there. Honestly, could be even more yellow. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're just going to glop it, filbert brush. We're just going to glop it on really pretty solid. Very solid, very solid. Not pretty solid, very solid. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about anything like shadows just yet. I'm just going to get this on. And we'll worry about shadows because they'll be super easy just to drift right in. Now I'm going to follow up with maybe some shadows just by scrubbing in this, just a little green and black, really. A little blue would be good, and a little purple. You can do anything you want for shadows. It doesn't really matter. It's pretty, though, isn't it? There's my road right there, so we know we want some amount of kind of that cooler shadow color there on the road. A little purples is okay. There we go. this is mostly a kind of a one layer process. Just kind of keeps it simple. You know, you could do this all in dark and then come back and highlight it, but I just think it's easier because we're working in kind of a small area just to do it this way. It's not going to hurt anything. So that's more or less our little rolling hill, at least for now. Wiping it off with a shop towel. What I do is just take a shop towel or a rag. You don't want to use a paper towel, it won't work. It'll leave these terrible fibers all over. But now I'm just gonna wipe this all off, because as you know, the paint on the canvas, oh, it's your worst enemy. So there you go. Better already. I think it looks better without all that gloppiness anyways. I actually found I liked the look of the fan brush for the evergreen, so that's what I went ahead and changed to that. Let me show you again how I did those. I'll do it right here, right in this blank spot. I just literally, because first I was doing the filbert brush thinking, wow, this is a bit, it was kind of slow. I thought, well, you know what, let me try the fan brushes for fun. And look, it looks good. So there's many different ways you can paint trees. You're too many to just put them all in, you know, you're all in one category. Like if you're gonna do a pine tree, you've got to have a fan brush. Well, no, that's not true. You can do it with about any brush. Basically the same format, you know. You paint the tree trunk, you make sure it kind of looks like it has some limbs, and then you're good. Yes, that's about all there is to it. Well, now I'm going to get a nice highlight again, very much similar to that original color, if not maybe just a little brighter, a little more. Maybe let's make it a little brighter since it wasn't quite already. There we go. And I'm going to very, very delicately stipple this on. This was only possible because we wiped the canvas off, as you recall. I don't want this to be crazy. I just want to give it a little sparkle. I don't want sparkle across the whole thing. That would be too much. But, you know, there's our sun. Let's sparkle a little bit coming through this meadow, coming down. Just get some of the slightly darker highlight. Very, very much similar to what we put down originally. And now you use that to feather both sides of the sunny spots. And just by tapping with that fan brush, cutting through the trees, the openings in the trees, you would see some of this highlight sprinkled through there, just like that. You would see a little on this ridge after it gets out of the shadow. So now I'm going to work on this side of the path. I'm very similar to the other side, maybe just a little more grassy. We're not going to need a whole lot of anything going on, I don't think, because not much of it's going to be showing. And that's one of the good things about doing the sketch. That way you know exactly what's going on, where things are going, and you don't have to guess. Darken that corner there. But actually, while we're at it here, I'm just kind of trying to build this painting out. Let's go ahead and get us a little shadow here, because we know that we want it there. And then start to get into some blues and greens. I work on some blues and greens down here as well. We're going to be raising our evergreen trees up out of this, but not yet. I've got to get a path. I got to get some color on our little path or road, and then a little fence as well. Now I'm just finishing up adding a couple of these little trees here. They don't really necessarily need to be too crazy. Just, as you can see, a few branches, even some from a tree that doesn't exist out here, just to kind of make it more interesting. Now I'm going to place in a fence here. Just a simple enough fence, nothing too crazy. Now, one thing I would say, because this path or this road is running straight across the painting, you don't want these to like get smaller. They need to be relatively similar in height all the way across the scene. These railings, you don't want necessarily them to be perfect. Maybe you want a broken one here and there. Now I'm going to place on the highlight to the road. What I'll probably do is do most of the highlight ignoring the fence, and then if I want to put a little shadow of the fence, the sunlight, you know, coming through, I can do that if I want to. There we go. Just enough. You could certainly wipe that road off. I did not put much paint down on it, so I don't think I need to, but you could if you need to. Now, obviously this area here, you would expect to see a decent bit of shadow. And that's what we're going to try to get, you know, up in here because of the grass. A little bit more of our yellow. Ooh, that's really decent. Kind of brighten it up. I'm going to place in just a couple of what looks like these little posts, the poles, to my shadow. It's going to be very, very impressionistic. I'm trying not to overdo it here. Something very simple and basic. I'm not worried about it at all. But at least it's there. If people notice it, that's fine. If they don't, that's also fine. You see, make your shadows nice and long. See how my shadows here that I drug across the path, see how long they are? Because look how low that sun is. These shadows are going to be very long. Now with the filbert brush, I'm going to put in a couple of tree trunks here. Nothing big. This is really, it's going to look funny if you're not careful. Let me just say that. There. Because what I'm doing is I'm intentionally making small evergreen trees. These are very tiny, and that's on purpose. They're supposed to be short. It's probably good. Now, how do we do that? Well, by not filling in the branches too much. Check this out. Put on a branch or two here with the fan brush, kind of, something like that. I may have to work on the top a little. Just a branch, not too many. Just a few branches that kind of stick out using just the corner. See, now they're looking kind of like a small evergreen tree. So again, keep these things very spindly. That's how the only reason that's going to look good is if they're spindly, and maybe use your liner brush even to put some extra details on them. So I'm using the fan brush because I want them skinny and spindly. Now I'm going to use the fan brush to crunch on little grass, and I did wipe this area off so that it should be nice and dry. Very, very, very little paint, just a stain there on the canvas. Let's just get this kind of mounded up. Actually, a little taller, I think that would be more interesting. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's awfully bright. I guess that's okay. I didn't know. Didn't know that was going to be quite that bright. There you go. Sometimes you get into paint and you didn't realize it. That's okay. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. Perfect? No. Pretty good? Yeah. I think we can work with pretty good. Here's some red. Get some red in there. Yes. We'll add a lot of color. Add a lot of color. Nice. These little leaves here. Maybe get there we go, good enough. Some green, add some more leaves. Nice, we'll finish that out with the liner brush. A few more shadows right here. Well, I'm just attempting a slightly different highlight technique, just using a 3/4 flat brush. The point of this would be just, because I kind of want that sharp detail. Given that these are so close, you would think, it needs to be sharp. That's fuzzy, this is sharp. That means this comes forward, that goes back, the background that is, goes back. It's very important that you can't just disregard those kind of things. It won't look good. Anyway, same idea for this up here. It's always good to come outside your dark with the light first, and then you can work it back in, wipe off the brush, and keep going. Yeah, it's just a little different. You could use a filbert brush, you could use a fan brush. So here I'm going to place in, I don't know, just a few more leaves, shrubs, and whatnot. Nothing too interesting, just enough to add a little color. I've got my 1/4 inch flat. Oh, I like this brush. Look at this instant large leaves. This is what I want. I want large leaves. I don't want any small leaves. That wouldn't look right? This is close. This is very close. There's a lot of good depth in this painting. I'm going to keep it that way. Yeah, that's about all we need. A little bit higher up there. You know what? You could technically go all the way up to the top if you want to. I think that's about as far as I'm going to go. I may work up a little bit more, but won't be much. Won't be much. There you go. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. In general, kind of overall, just appearance of a bush or something. There's my color right there, that orangey color, some more red. I'm just doing kind of my best to get just a couple more little shots of color in this painting before we add the liner brush work. That's pretty, isn't it? Yeah, that color, I think that color adds something to the painting. Oh, there's some bright red ones there. Bright red, maybe with some green in it. Come on now, where's that green? There it is. Some yellow green. Oh, there we go. Good. So we'll just do a few of these leaves here and there, just to build this up, build it up with texture, with color and life. And then we'll add our liner brush stuff around it. We're gonna go ahead and finish up here with some liner brush work. I'll show you my pile of paint. It does help squirt out some fresh paint sometimes when you're using a liner brush because, you know, paint can be so contaminated and hard to mix up a nice bright color. It just depends on how bright you want it to be. You want to get this paint flowing a little bit like maybe ink, not as flowy as water. I like to thin mine with oil. You could use paint thinner if you want to. If you want to. I don't particularly care for paint thinner anymore, but hey, it does work. Lots and lots and lots of grass. Maybe try to do it in individual clumps or kind of like bushes of grass if you want to. I don't know if it's gonna, you know me, I'll tend to go wild with the grass and it just kind of coming from everywhere, but I don't know. There we go. No symmetry here. That is the one thing that's going to make this look really weird, is if you have a lot of symmetry in it. See, sometimes your brush will get so full of paint, it kind of flops around and it makes these little blobs there. You can either, you know, try to get rid of them or just, here, watch this, add more blobs. And it looks like you meant to do it. That's my suggestion. Just make it look like you meant to do it instead. There. Let's go a little darker over here on this side. What do you think? A little darker? See, I got my kind of sun column coming through here, and here's in shadow over there. I want to make sure those are very dark over there. I don't really think I want anything on those trees. Hopefully they don't look too unfinished, but I don't want to ruin that effect. You know what I mean? Here's some dark green. I guess it's light green, but there's some green. And that'll look pretty good as well. Just some extra. You don't want them all bright. There's got to have some dark ones in here, I guess. There. And it wouldn't hurt to have some red ones as well, would it? Would be okay. Yeah. So anyway, we'll just keep on going. Lots of grass. Well, that's about it for this painting today. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing a slightly different use of our lighting. It was kind of different having it up in the upper left corner, not something we usually do. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.